Hi guys, it's me, Nendroid _ Addict512, and I had gotten a question on one of my reviews, I believe it was the Hestia Nendoroid, about coloration in their faces and them being more pink than others. So I decided it might be a good idea for me to do a bootleg Nendoroid review to kind of help you guys who may not have been collecting very long or just bought a Nendoroid from a person and they just don't look quite right and you want to try to figure out if they're legit or not. When I first started collecting, my first figure was a bootleg Icarus from Heaven's Lost Property, and I actually do not know where she is right now because a lot of my stuff is still packed up because I'm kind of lazy and just haven't unpacked everything. But I loved her. As soon as I saw her, I was so happy I got her, and then I went to pose her. Her arms kept falling off, and I couldn't get her hands to stay on. Her little hand that holds the watermelon kept falling off. I ended up super gluing her because I was so desperate to get her to stay in one pose. Don't get me wrong, she was adorable, and considering I knew nothing about Nendoroids, well, she was perfect enough for me. Well, since then, I have collected quite a few Nendoroids. I honestly don't even know how many I have right now. I will have to do a count and get back to you guys on that one. But I know that it would have been helpful for me when I first started collecting if I had known what they were called. I did not know the term Nendoroid until I got to looking around, and then I finally found it. And then after that, I started buying legitimate Nendoroids. I think my first legit Nendoroid was my Asuna Titania version, and she's actually right over here. She has Luca's faceplate right now because I just think it's really pretty. She's got the singing face and everything. And she was my first legit Nendoroid, and I was very happy with her. She stayed together. Her pieces didn't fall off, except for, I will say, I'm gonna kill her here, not meaning to. Her little bitty braids that attached under here, I did lose those doing photo shoots outside. But since it's underneath her little veil in the back, I wasn't too concerned. I loved her detail, I was so excited. And then I decided that even if they were a little more expensive, I was gonna start ordering them directly from a source. And then I discovered Tokyo Otaku Mode, and it all kind of went uphill from there. Well, I guess what I should probably discuss first is coloration of faces. Faceplates come in lots of different colors. Let me find one of Asuna's, actually. Okay, here's one of Asuna's faceplates. And she's one of the ones I've noticed that is a lot more pink than others. Okay, I've got a faceplate for Rin Tosaka. She is a very pale Nendoroid. Oh, I don't have that turned on. Hang on, guys. Bear with me. I want to turn this light on. There we go. That should help a little bit. Okay. It's kind of hard to tell, but Asuna's faceplate is much more pink. Maybe if I have something white to lay them on. Hang on. Piece of paper. Sorry for all the moving around, guys. I was not prepared when I started doing this. Okay, you can pretty much tell Asuna's face is a lot more pink. She's very flesh toned, like more of a eye of out in the sun, sun-kissed kind of flesh tone. Rin is more of a lighter, like more of a porcelain. Let's see, who else do I have? And then we have Nagisa. Even her skin tone is a little bit different. It's not quite as pink as Asuna's, but it's a little more pink than Rin's. Now, I will say that I noticed Alba. His skin is so much more pink than a lot of the other characters that I have. I think it was his upper body piece. If I can figure out where it is in my box over here. Well, I'm not seeing it. Oh, here's a good example of how white they can get. There's Nagisa's which face. But that's a good example of their faces and the skin tones that they can come in. I do have Hestia up here. She's in her, most of her faces are in her box, but she is very pink. To answer the question I got, her skin tone is very pinkish. I honestly wasn't able to answer that question 100% earlier because I was downstairs. But I can't find my other half. Oh, wait, no, I can. There it is. Alright, his body, say in comparison to, where's Gilgamesh's face? I think it was Gil's face. There was a huge color difference. And when I did a photo shoot with Gilgamesh using Alba's upper body, it was very difficult because the color was so different. So I had to do some editing to make it look right. But there are lots of variety in faceplate colors. I've noticed throughout my collecting that they can range from a very, very pink to kind of a yellow color, even down to a like normal skin tone. Well, about as normal as I could imagine would be normal. Miku's face, honestly, her skin tone is fairly normal. And that's one thing I'm going to go ahead and add in here. There are Nendoroids that are much more likely to be made bootlegs than others. Miku and any of the Vocaloids are some of the ones that you're going to see a lot of bootlegs of. Anything that's really popular, you'll see quite a few of them. My Miku I ordered from Tokyo Otaku Mode when I ordered my Ren, Len, and Luca Nendoroids. And this is the Miku 2.0, which personally I prefer her. I'm glad I got her instead of the regular Miku Nendoroid. But if it's obvious, her eyes are very, very well painted. Her paint is perfect. Her colors are perfect. There's no discolorations or any kind of issues with her paint job. Even her little screens on her sleeves are perfect. There's nothing off about this Nendoroid. But I do actually have a bootleg that I got fairly recently, and I was honest that she was a bootleg once I discovered she was. That I had ordered from someone off of Instagram, was selling her, and I really liked her. She looked legitimate just from looking at it. And so I decided, well, why not? I'll give this Nendoroid a good home. And that would be the Bloomed in Japan Sakura Miku, which I had not even planned on getting this Nendoroid, but I thought she was really pretty, so I figured why not? Now look at her. She looks really good. Her faceplate isn't shiny. Her hair is a little shiny, and you can see a little bit of seams and like you can see some mild issues in her paint. Even me, since I've been collecting for quite a while now, I could not tell that this was a bootleg. And it's hard to believe that she actually is a bootleg. It took me a while of looking online to be able to find out that she was. The fact that her arms fell off easily was one of the big indicators for me. Her hair and stuff, I figured it'd fall off easy because she's got these little pieces. But what started to cue me in was that she was shiny in some places. I could see seams, which was not typical for Good Smile. It kind of caught me off guard. I'm going to go ahead and decapitate her. It just kind of caught me off guard. I was like, okay, this is not a real Nendoroid. One of the things that you should notice is Good Smile will always color in the back of the hair. Like, there is a ton more color on the back of Miku's hair in comparison to Bootleg Miku's hair. Also, usually this piece is not colored on the legitimate Nendoroids. One thing you'll notice about bootlegs is the inside of their face is different. Let's go ahead and set her up there so she can kind of do that. I'll decapitate my other Miku. Oh, come on. Alright. Well, if you notice, it's got that little peg in the middle, which isn't typical. That usually is empty, as seen in this legitimate Miku Nendoroid's faceplate back piece. Things just look different. It's easier to tell once you've had quite a few. Now, this is a big thing right here, what I'm about to show you. It's one of the ways I've been easily able to tell bootlegs from non-bootleg Nendoroids. The newer the Nendoroid is, they will have two pieces that go to their faceplate. Which this I didn't know until after I had gotten a fairly new Nendoroid. Oh, whose face is this? This is either Ren or Len, I'm not sure. Their faces get mixed up. But if you look, it's a single piece faceplate. Everything is all attached. This part here, everything is attached to the faceplate like it should be. Now, the Miku 2.0, I think, was one of the first Nendoroids to introduce this concept, where it's two pieces, and it doesn't look like it, but this disconnects, and the faceplate slides on it. I think they did this to try to make it more difficult for bootleggers to make their terrible bootleg Nendoroids. But that's one thing to look for in the new Nendoroids. They have that different faceplate. So if you're ordering a newer Nendoroid and you're looking at the pictures and it shows it looking like this, then it is not legitimate. I have not seen any of the newer Nendoroids with faceplates like the old ones. So unless they decide to do a jump back in time, the two-piece faceplate is what you're going to be looking for. But that was how I was able to tell the Sakura Miku apart from a legitimate Nendoroid, because she has a single piece faceplate. That was my biggest indicator. Now, when they made this Nendoroid, they did not include the top part to the faceplate. It just stops right there, which I thought was strange. Which, when I looked at it and I looked at the legitimate pictures, it kind of stopped me, and I was like, wait, that's one of the things that I was looking for. But without having the detachable piece right here, you can tell that she's a bootleg. She's a very good bootleg, though, honestly. Like, as far as bootlegs have gone, I have the Sebastian Michaelis bootleg. I had the Icarus from Heaven Lost Property bootleg. Oh, I even had the old Sakura Miku bootleg. She was one of the other first Nendoroids that I had received. And I really liked her. I thought she was cute. If you go back into the beginning of my Instagram profile, you might see pictures of her. If not, then on my personal profile, I know there are still pictures of her. But I ended up customizing her into an original character of mine. But that's about all bootlegs are good for, really, is customization. Or if you really just can't afford it and you want an Nendoroid that doesn't look real great, that's about all they're good for. Now, this review is going to be longer than a lot of mine, just because I'm going over a lot of different things. I still have my Hestia and Kojiku boxes, and I'm going to go over that again, just to kind of help you guys figure that all up. Let's get this. Alright. One thing to always look for when you're online purchasing an Nendoroid, look for Good Smile Company. It will say Good Smile Company on it if it is a legitimate Nendoroid. And it will also have the sculpted by and cooperation by. I've seen where it said Nendoroid series on some bootlegs, but I've noticed, as far as I can remember, none of them actually had the Good Smile logo. And they'll always say choking hazard, not for small children, blah blah. They'll have the English and the Japanese. for the title. And the boxes will always be very glossy and well printed. Like, not super glossy, but kind of like a semi-gloss finish almost. They're not rough to the touch. They're very smooth. They'll have all of this on the back. And they almost always have some kind of sticker. I'm used to a holographic sticker, so the Ultra Tokyo Connection sticker is kind of new to me. It might just be because of where I ordered it. Also, legitimate Nendoroids will come with an instruction manual, which I think I had taken out of here. But they come with instruction manuals. They're usually pretty easy to figure out, unless it's Kojiku with that arm, which I definitely had issues with. But when you're looking at the boxes, make sure that there is some kind of sticker. And if you have any questions about it, don't be afraid to actually ask the person selling it. Sometimes they'll answer you, sometimes they won't. And if they won't answer you, that just gives you all the more reason to not trust buying from them. Look at Pikachu for a minute, guys. I gotta clean off my screen of my tablet. Okay, now none of these images I'm going to show you belong to me, but I am going to show you pictures of legitimate Nendoroids and petite Nendoroids versus bootlegs. Now, you can see on the left is a bootleg Miku petite Nendoroid, but she also has a keychain piece attached to her head. If you notice, the edges are very, very rounded in comparison to the other one. Her skirt is all one color. Her tie is all one color. Her face looks terrible and is shiny. The skin is very pink and orangish colored. And her leeks aren't even colored right. And her hairbands look like they are a solid square. So those are some things to look for. That's an example of bad paint jobs. Alright. And I do not actually own this Nendoroid or know what she is from. I think it's Infinite Stratos, but I can't remember. I picked this image because it shows how much higher up they'll put the eyes. A lot of bootlegs, they don't have that cute, shrunk, chibi face quite so much because their eyes are up way too high. And if you notice, the coloring's wrong in the hair. She doesn't have the pieces of hair that go over her shoulders there. She's just really shiny, and she just doesn't look nearly as good as the real one. Now this, I've seen these on eBay when I've been scrolling through looking for Nendoroids, because I'm like anybody else, I'm looking for a deal. And I can't believe that people are even buying these. This is probably the worst Nendoroid bootleg I have ever seen. If you buy one of these, then I really hope you're new to this, or you're just asking for it, because this is terrible. I do not own, I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be Aaron. I do not own him, but I do have Levi, and I can't even tell who this is. I'm assuming it's Aaron. It might be Levi. Whoever it is, it doesn't look right. Now here's the old Miku Nendoroid, not the 2.0 like I have. These are the legitimate Nendoroids on this side. These are the fakes on this side. If you notice, she's got a lot more blush. Her mouth is a lot more pink. Her eyes are longer and less pudgy. Her eyes are off-center in comparison to the other ones. And her paint job isn't the greatest. And her hair looks like it's less thick towards the bottom. There's a lot of different things. And there's lots of sources online. Good Smile has a lot of bootleg reference guides and stuff. I think this is where that's from. But never be afraid to ask someone for help, especially in the toy community, because they will help you as best they can. Because the last thing any of us want to see is someone buy a bootleg and then be shamed later realizing they bought something that wasn't legitimate by someone else. Now here's more of the terrible bootleg. I can tell that's Levi, but I don't understand why they're even trying. These don't look anything like the Levi Nendoroid. Not at all. Okay, here's another example of the Miku faceplates. Look how bad the paint is around the mouth. And there's even some pink underneath her teeth. Her eyes are shiny. Her skin is shiny. Her mouth here is way too pink and too pronounced. The eyes on this one don't look too bad, but they are way too shiny. And her neck joints are an abnormal color to the rest of her skin. The neck joints are almost always the same color as the skin tone for the Nendoroid. And here's another example of joints and colors. You can kind of see it in this picture, but Good Smile Company always has a little smiley face on their joints. For their legs, their necks, anywhere that one of these joints is used, they have a little smiley face. Now these, you can notice a huge color difference between the foot and the joint. The joints are like a really nasty yellow color. The legs are super pink. You can definitely tell what's real and what's not here. Obviously, that's a legitimate leg. Not sure who that's for, but that is definitely a legitimate leg. Okay, here's a good comparison. I guess that was Levi. Well, the more you know, right? Well, I have this Nendroid. Great Nendoroid, super cute, really like him. Still can't figure out how to get his 3D maneuvering gear attached to his legs. But that is a poor excuse for a Nendoroid. And people are selling these online expecting you to buy them. Usually it's to people who don't know, or just to fans who are so excited about the aspect of having a figure of their favorite character that they don't care what it looks like. Now, I can understand $60 is a lot to spend on a figure if you're not really able to afford it. Completely understandable. But if, say, you get an allowance or you're getting paid, depending on what stage of life you're in, it would be better, trust me, in the long run, to save up for that $60 Nendoroid than to buy that $20 one. It's not that big of a difference when you really look at it in comparison to what you're going to be getting. And yep, that is all of my pictures. Like I said, none of these images that I just showed you are mine. They're all images I found on Google. But they were just mostly to help show you guys what the differences are. You will notice bootlegs tend to fall apart easier, their arms and legs fall off, things like that. And they don't come with little handy-dandy instruction booklets. Granted, this is the instruction booklet to my Kapochi Hestia, not my Nendoroid, because I do not know where my Nendoroid is. There we go. Well, here's an instruction manual to Kojiku. That's a good example for me to show you guys. It will show you how the faceplates go on and all of that, how different pieces go on, how to use the stand. Oh, there's Hestia's. I was about to say, that's not Kojiku. It'll show you images of what they're supposed to look like when they're posed. Different little things like that. And it'll just be a little folded up guide. Not anything special, but that is about all I have to say about bootlegs. If you guys have any questions regarding bootlegs or any of my bootleg experiences, let me know. If you would like me to round up my bootlegs and do a review just on those particular bootlegs, let me know. I don't have many of them anymore, but I do have the Sakura Miku. I do not have the legitimate Nendoroids to compare them with, but I could do reviews on them if you guys would want me to. I hope you guys enjoyed my review, and follow me on Instagram if you would like. Give me a thumbs up, and I'm also on Facebook, and thank you guys for watching.